Joining me right now is the Vietnamese assassin, Martin Nguyen, one featherweight king. What's going on?
It's good, bro. It's always good to talk to you.
Definitely, man. The first thing I want to get into right now is outside the cage. You've been busy. Your passion for motorcycles. I just saw a video. You teamed up with Black Market Media. What's going on with that?
Hey, look, it's nothing too special. It's just basically showcasing, showing the fans what I also do outside of MMA. Everyone knows I love the game and my passion for motorcycles as well. So it's just a thing that we got together, and we share our passion for these guys from Sydney West Riders. We've got a camera crew coming along, Market Media. They filmed, the whole thing, and then I did a track day. There's more videos that come out of me on this motorcycle. Throughout last year, in general, 2018, I didn't get to sit down on that motorcycle. So for a whole year, it's been sitting in my garage. I've been fight camp after fight camp after fight camp. So, and then I had the injury at late last year, so I really couldn't ride it. And now that I'm injury free, and the bike sitting there, man, the summer heat in Australia, everything's coming into place, man. And it's just a way to showcase to the MMA fans all my other leisures as well. So
I also saw you doing some modeling too. What's going on with that, man? Like you getting into that a little bit?
modeling, where's this at?
I saw a commercial. You're modeling some clothes for one championship.
Yeah. No, so one championship. So it's all the new merchandise that's come out now, the lifestyle merchandise. Look, they got us to do it when we were over in Singapore for the awards night, and the Singapore event where Bellingham versus Fernandez. So we tried to make the most of our days over there, and they were just like, "You want to take some photos, photo shoot in the new lifestyle gear?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not, man?" But yeah, I was just trying to crack into it. Nah, I haven't got a face for
it. Another thing One Championship is getting into this year is esports, man. They announced that you were there in Singapore. You're big into esports. Could we see you getting into that, like competing, against maybe Demetrius Johnson? He's also on the other side of the world doing the same thing.
He is. Look, I'm more of a closet gamer. I play with fans. I play with a lot of fans from Asia, a lot of fans in Australia as well. Look, for me, it's not all about who's best and a competition in the game. I use the gaming side as to get in contact with my fans and all my friends, and we get together and we do what we love. We play some games. Sure, we give each other a bit of stick and swear at each other and here and there, but man, it's all fun and games at the end of the day, and to interact with the fans through the gaming world, man, it's fun. Honestly, there's nothing more than I'll give an example, like a fan swearing at you, but they don't know they know who you are, but they laugh it off like, "Come on, I'll fight you outside the cage," like that. It's so funny, bro. Like, bro, you don't even know. Just sit down, man. At the bottom of the ladder, man. Just stay down there. No, we all muck around, bro. It's all fun and games. That's it.
Recently, I saw Angla Nasang. He visited you in Australia. It seems like you guys have a pretty close relationship. Is he one of the most friendliest fighters that you have met in One Championship?
Yeah, Angla is definitely a beautiful soul, man. Like we were always talking. The first time I met Angla was when he first fought Big Dash in Jakarta. We were both on the same card. I fought Yokota on the same card. We were actually talking about this the other week when he was here, January 14th. And man, like he was sitting there. He had no one in his corner. Basically, he had his cornerman, but they went around him. The bus was coming to pick us up. Big Dash was like the giant ogre that he had to take off. He was at the top of the ladder, and Angla was taking this fight on like 2 weeks' notice or something. He was saying, and I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, doesn't beat me 48 hours, but in terms of being then and there in the moment, on a winning streak as well, and taking on 2 week notice, and pushing him all 5 rounds. I was like, I have nothing but respect for the bloke, and I seen him sitting down on the stairs, and I came out. he was by himself now. I came up, I started speaking to him, and started to get to know each other a bit more. And I found out that he had a family, and he found out it was vice versa. And we started talking about family. And then once he was getting bigger and bigger, and he won the title, it was all about congratulating each other here and there. And then, yeah, man. So bit of family advice, bit of fight game advice. Through the thick and thin, the wins and losses, we've always been there for each other. And I found that it was like a genuine friend in this fight game. It wasn't like one that you'd say you call a friend, but then there's someone else behind your back. But Angla's one of the guys that I look up to, and he's like a brother to me. And yeah, man, I can't wait what the future holds for us, man.
It's pretty insane to think that you guys met before any of you had belts, right? And now you guys both are double division champions. He's still holding 2 titles.
No, it's true, man. But look, it's the way I see it is hard work pays off, man. And watching him train and hearing his story from before he was in one championship, and we sat down at dinner and we spoke about how we met our wives and what led us from there, from having a family, and what we're going through, our struggles, and our stories are very, very similar. And we were saying how crazy it was at dinner that he was explaining the struggle financially, and I was in the same thing. I mean, we were living week to week, having 2 kids to grow up and feed as well. And man, it was like our stories were like, it wasn't black and white. It was like very, very on the same par. And man, it was like we all felt that connection, man. And it was like a blessing in disguise having him in our lives now, and his family in our lives. Sorry. And yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Like from where we came from to where we are now, and there's still big things coming, man. I think we're just scratching the surface to what really can potentially be the break for us.
What did you think when you saw the pictures of his statue that they created for him in Myanmar?
Like, in a way, that's like crazy. That's crazy popular. That's crazy famous. But in another way, I looked at it, and the first thing I did was I messaged him. I'm like, dude, the only thing that looks like you in that photo, the ears are on point, but everything else is like, I don't know if I can say it looks the same. But yeah, like good on him, man. Like look, he has his whole town supporting him, but not only his whole town, the whole country. That's big, man. That's like freaking like something you can't ever take back. He can look back now and he can like explain it to his son. Like, man, he's like the biggest role model to not only the kids of Myanmar and Burma, it's the parents as well. Like everyone looks up to him, and to hear the stories that he can't even walk around in the streets without everyone wanting to take photos. Man, he was walking around Australia and everyone wanted to take photos with him. So like in Myanmar, that's crazy big. But come to Australia and everyone still wanted to take photos, that's even bigger, man. Like the guy is a superstar, man. He deserves everything that comes his way.
Recently, I've been seeing some photos of you, man. It seems like your body has, changed. You're back to your old self. You got some muscle on you. Have you been putting, time in the gym? You've been lifting?
The one thing that I lacked the most dropping down to bantamweight was having to lift weight and take care of my body physically. So now that I've gone up to my normal weight class, I've gone back to my normal training regime pre-Gaffaro fight. So man, I've been focusing on mobility as well as strength as well as explosiveness. I'm still working on my cardio. Everything is still there. And look, I only fought last year one time at featherweight, and that was 5-week notice. And there's not really anything you can do in 5 weeks but to eat and try and gain weight back to the featherweight division. So in terms of working on my body, last year to 2018, I never lifted one weight, no weights at all up until November of 2018. So yeah, man, it's been crazy. My body has, I feel that my body's gone back to normal. I feel strong. When I'm wrestling, it's harder for the guys to take me down. Everything's coming to the way where I left off pre the super fights. So we'll see what happens, man. I think there's still more to evolve. I had been lifting a lot of weights and doing a lot of strength work. And I think that's the one thing that let me down the most when dropping down to bantamweight was the strength.
When you defended your title against Christian Lee, physically you didn't feel the same as you did.
No way. That was so everything I did for the Bibiano fight, which was mainly losing weight as well as cardio and movement. So that there I brought into the Christian fight. But in terms of strength, man, I had zero strength, like zero. I had just based instincts of takedowns, of countering him and moving and outlast. I knew I was going to outlast him 5 rounds, without a doubt. I could have went another 10 rounds after that. And in terms of the strikes and everything, I still felt that. I don't know. If looking back at that fight, if he still believes that was a split decision, then he's delusional. So I don't know. I thought I was a clear winner. 4 out of 5 rounds of that fight, but obviously one championships rule criteria don't judge round by round. But I still think that I finished off much more solid than he did and he was to earn it in unanimous. But we can run it back. We'll see what happens in the next fight where I'm fully prepared. 8-week camp is all I need.
With all that said, everybody's wondering, when are you going to return to defend that featherweight title? Could you give us any information?
Look, I wanted to return early this year. I wanted 3 bouts this year. 1 bout obviously being in Vietnam, 1 mid-year and 1 start year. I don't think that's going to be looking the case. I mean, it really depends on one championship. I'm ready to go. I've been ready since the start of January. I started getting into shape. I started getting everything on point at the start of January. I had a fight camp booked overseas. I had to reschedule that because a fight was it fell through. Actually, a couple of fights fell through. So I'm hoping to get back on by April. Man, I'm just waiting for them. I'm ready to go. If they go, you're on the next card, you've been vice versa, blah, 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 I'll take it, man. I don't care. I know it's going to be a featherweight, and I know that's where I'm most comfortable, and I know that's where I'm the most strongest, so no one's going to beat me at featherweight. So, man, all I'm doing is just maintaining my skills until I go overseas to finish off the strong fight camp, and we'll see what happens, man. I'm hoping by April, anyway.
A fight camp booked overseas? What are you talking about?
Look, there's no disrespect to my team. They got me to where I am, and they got me to becoming a world champion when I was nothing, you know. But when it comes to times like this, man, I think everyone sees me as being on a losing streak as of 2016. So it's time for me to come back stronger than ever, and I want to leave nothing to chance. So I booked. I was actually invited as well as booked a camp overseas in America. So we'll see what happens, man. I'll announce it very soon once I step my foot through those doors to make it official. Instead of talking about it and not being able to turn up, the flights are rescheduled. The flights are booked. Until I walk through those doors, it's official that I'm part of the team. But we'll see what happens, man.
Rumors, there are some rumors about WADA testing starting in 2019. Have you heard anything about this? And if it does start, what is your thoughts on this?
Everybody's on steroids, man. I don't even know what a WADA testing is. I always thought like it's pretty-mandatory to at least test for any anabolic or testosterone, TRT, like just standard testing in one championship until I found out that they really don't test at all and how many people could potentially be on it. Look, I think it's a good thing, man. This is where one championship is evolving. Really, it is evolving. It's one step onto the next, and before you know it, man, like you don't know what's going to come from one championship, man. It's the amount of stuff they're announcing and all the good stuff that they're announcing, man. It's forever evolving, and they're becoming like one of the big dogs in the game, and that's what makes me so proud to be a part of a team like that. Chachu leading the way and doing his thing, and there's nothing but respect, man. He's everyone else is still showing the true martial artists that they are as they are, but we'll see who busts, man. Like I'm sure you'll see a lot of bodies change now that one championship has announced that, and I mean everyone's probably gonna still be on it and hoping that they don't get tested. I don't know. But for me, man, I've been clean. I've been clean since the day I started, and we'll see. We'll see who's the first to get bust.
Just shows you that one championship is leveling up. Because if you look at any other promotions around the world, that none of them announce that they're testing, except for the UFC. So one championship doing this, they're going a step further, and it's a good sign.
100%, man. Look, and also another thing like that I hear a lot of people talking about is like the weigh-ins. Like people want to know what other people weigh in at. Like honestly for me, why does it matter to the public when all it should really matter to is your opponent's team and your opponent? If you make the weight and your opponent's there to look at the weight and his team is there to look at the weight to confirm, then the fight is still on. Everyone's still talking like, oh, why don't they make it public and everyone wants to see the weight and see the difference. I'm like, dude, don't worry about the weight. Just worry about the fight. The weight, let the cornerman and your opponent worry about that. Now, if you don't make weight, you're a douchebag. You're the unprofessional one, and you're the one that has to give up 20% of your purse. But that's how you know when someone hasn't made weight. They make the fight a catch weight. So you're always thinking like, who didn't make the weight? Who didn't make the weight? Who looks in the worst shape? But in terms of the weigh-ins, man, I think it's like second to none. I think it's the best weigh-in thing anyone could ever introduce. Man, for a fighter to be fully hydrated and go into the fight at full potential, no sickness, no nothing, and not having to worry about the weight at all unless they're walking in big weight, and not having to cut weight, man, that's a major factor, man, and that's one thing that I praise the most about one championship. Whoever wants that publicly announced and all that shit, man, shut the hell up, man. As long as the other opponents, cornermen, and coaches approve and they see that you've made weight like a professional, both teams have made weight like a professional. Who cares about weight, man? It's all about the fight that matters at the end of the day.
I see that you've been on Twitter.
I see it all the time. I'm not really usually on Twitter, and every time that I do go on Twitter, there's always someone talking about one championship weigh-in. I'm like, man, if only you guys knew. Who cares, man? If you guys knew that we both weighed in on point, what are you gonna say now? Like, what's there to say? Nothing. You're just eager to know, like being like Snoopy.
Well, I think a lot of people get things confused. Cutting weight and losing weight, two totally different things. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're not knowledgeable on, weight cutting or whatever. So they're just throwing shit on the wall to see if it sticks, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Look, cutting weight, water weight is, man, it's self-explanatory, man. You sit in a sauna and freaking die. You lose all your fluids in your body and your way in. Losing weight via dieting and via training and through nutrition is a different story, man. And for some people it can affect them, and some people they find it much better. Me going down to bantamweight, I found that losing weight via nutrition was the easiest way of losing weight to get down to that weight division. But how it affected me, it affected my body. I became much weaker, no strength there. So it's just all about like the first weight cut with Bibiana. I felt like $1 million. I had thought that was my new home. But in saying that, I had 3 months to prepare for that. For the Bellingham fight, I had 7 weeks. So just to have the two time frame differences, it really makes a big difference, and that's what was really doubting me of going back down to bantamweight. But the next time, if that ever happens, and I hope that it really happens in the future, I'll be more aware of time management, of getting back down there, and losing the correct amount of weight per month properly, instead of just trying to flash diet and get it out of the system. So.
All right, Martin, man. Thank you for your time, and hopefully you get into that cage real quick.
Very soon, man. Very soon. Thank you.